Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Life. Now, up next, we are joined by Amira Asvat here in studio, who is a lecturer, certified financial planner, to share her expertise on the vital topic of retirement and financial preparedness. Now, with her wealth of knowledge and experience, Amira will enlighten us on how to plan for a secure and prosperous retirement, navigating the complexities of savings, investments, and financial planning. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Prime Life.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me again.
Jazakallah so much. Today I think we're having a very interesting topic. We will be speaking about retirement, right? So a lot of people may struggle with the concept of retirement, especially because a lot of people have a lot of financial demands and they don't even know where to start, because it's like, how do I even plan for something that's like 15 years to come when I can't even afford the present? How do you best advise people to navigate that?
So, before I answer your question, I have a question for you. How many South Africans, or what percentage of South Africans do you think can retire comfortably? Take a guess. Take a wild guess.
A wild guess. Retire comfortably.
Yes.
I think it's a very small percentage. I would say 6%.
You are 100% correct.
Really?
It is 6%.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Look
it is
at
6%.
me.
I think you like Googling things there. So it's a very, very scary statistic to think that only 6% of South Africans can retire comfortably. That means 94% of South Africans can't retire comfortably, and it's a very shocking statistic. It's very worrying. It's very concerning, and yeah, I hope that from our conversation tonight we can help some people. So yeah, I'm gonna try and remember your question. Sorry, can you just repeat it, please?
So my question was that a lot of people obviously are in a, I would say, in a very bad financial state in South Africa. There's a lot of financial demands. So a lot of times when you raise the retirement issue, it's like, how am I supposed to even plan for the next coming 15 years if I can't afford my life today? So what is your advice on how they can navigate that?
Okay. So I think your first step is to obviously look at your budget. We always seem to go back to the budget. Look at what you are spending your money on now. What is your income? What are all your expenses? And retirement is something that is definitely a need. I mean, if you are going to retire at some point in your life, and you need to know how are you going to manage your lifestyle after that, because remember, when you retire, you're not going to have an income. So the salary that you're getting every month, that's not going to be there anymore. Are you going to look at your children to support you financially? Do you have other income that can support you financially, such as rental income, or in any other income like that's not a salary, that's not going to stop when you retire? So that's something that you need to sit back and you need to think on, like, who's going to fund me? Who's going to pay for all of my expenses when I retire? Because just because your salary is stopping doesn't mean all your other expenses are stopping also. So number one is to look at your budget and to try and fit your retirement annuity somewhere in there. If you are working for a corporate, I know many corporates offer the option of a pension fund or a provident fund. But even if you have that, you can still take out your own retirement annuity so that it can add together. I mean, the more that you have, the better it's going to be for you.
No, I think that highlights the importance of planning for the future instead of living for now. As much as you might have a lot of financial, strains in your life, you still have to prioritize your retirement, because it's quite a very scary concept. The fact that if you don't actually do anything about it, your kids would now have to be, struggling to support you financially. Now, let's talk about an ideal time for planning for your retirement, because if there's a lot of people who are watching who are younger, like, okay, let's say myself, I'm probably thinking, hi, Bo, like, why would I even be thinking about retirement right now? Maybe like when I'm in my late 30s, I don't know, maybe I'll start thinking about retiring. So when is it the ideal time to start planning?
So the ideal time to start is as soon as possible. The retirement age is 65 in South Africa, but I mean a lot of people retire before that. So you get people that retire at 55, you get people that retire at 60, anywhere between 60 and 65. So if you think you're only going to start saving for your retirement at 40, that only gives you 25 years. And you would think that's a long time, but it really isn't. The earlier you start saving, the better it's going to be for you. So my advice to everyone or to young people is as soon as you land your first job or your first stable job, and you know that you're getting a stable income, start a retirement annuity. Start with the minimum amount, and you can always increase it over time. But just start somewhere so that you know that you do have some sort of backup for when you do retire.
And I know you mentioned that it could be any amount, but like what should people consider when allocating a budget for the retirement?
So that depends entirely on the person. Everybody has got different income that they get. Everybody has got different expenses that they get. A lot of people, in your income and your expenses are very varying, and also the amount that you have left over after you pay all of your expenses. Well, hopefully you've got money left
Hopefully
over.
there's something left.
So it depends entirely on you and your budget. So if you're unsure and if you're not, if it's not making sense to you, reach out to a financial advisor. Sit and go strategically through your budget. Try and see where you can cut down on something maybe so that you can increase or you can start a retirement plan somewhere, because that is very, very important. You don't want to get to a stage where you're now, it's a few years left to your retirement, and now all of a sudden you're thinking about how am I going to live? How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that? You don't want to be in that situation. So try and start, even if they older people that are listening to this, and if you don't have a retirement annuity, start, especially for those who don't have pension funds or provident funds. Try and start building up your retirement annuity from now.
And let's speak about the fact that a lot of people might feel like to plan for your retirement in a form of cash, for example, to say, I'm going to be saving up this amount every month, it kind of depreciates, because it's like in the next 25 years or 30 years, if I had managed to maybe save up 100,000 rands or 200,000 rand, is it enough? Are there any like retirement options that people can maybe invest in, maybe property or any other thing that maybe increases in value instead of putting cash in the bank?
So there's a lot of retirement funds that are out there. Most of the companies or the investment companies offer it. So speak to a financial advisor to advise you on the best one for you, because obviously you have to look at the type of investor that you are. And this goes hand in hand with the investment talk that we had the other day. If you are an aggressive investor, you could maybe be putting some of your money into a fund that's a little bit more aggressive compared to somebody who is not. But when it comes to retirement, even though you might be an aggressive investor, a lot of your money is not going to sit in an equity fund, for example, because that's too volatile. So the funds go into more safer funds, if I can call it that, where you know that your returns are kind of guaranteed comparing it going into an equity fund where the funds are a lot more volatile, and there's you can lose a lot more money in there compared to like a more stable or a more balanced fund. And I think this is something that I forgot to mention when we had our investment talk the other day, but it obviously ties into this as well, that there's a lot of companies out there who are offering exorbitant amounts of returns on your investment. So if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Stay away from it. So I know there's a lot of companies that are offering 23% returns and 24% returns monthly. Please stay away from those companies. A lot of those companies might not even be regulated. I think I did mention the last time that if you find a company that looks good and that looks legit, go onto the FSCA website and put in the FSP number and see if it comes up there, and then you'll be able to know from there. But go with companies that have been around for a long time, because you know that they are stable and they probably will be around for a long time also. There's a lot of companies that are coming up and they preying on individuals, and it's really sad when they prey on older people, and these people think, oh, I'm going to get such a good return on my money. I'm going to put all of my retirement money in there. And they do get returns. They get returns for a while, and then all of a sudden, the company isn't there anymore, or the company goes into business rescue, and these people don't get their money back. I mean, there's a lot of companies that this has happened to before. There's a company that came up probably around 10 years ago with sort of the same thing, offering these exorbitant returns, and a lot of older people put their money in there thinking, okay, this is my retirement plan. I'm going to just live off this money for the rest of my life. And the company did well for a little while, and then eventually the company went, they said that they've now gone into business rescue. And a lot of those investors, because they were old at the time already, a lot of them have passed away, and no money has been paid out to them. So when it comes to things like that, you need to just look very carefully at the returns and why are the returns so high compared to all the other investment houses.
And in terms of the percentage that we've mentioned, the 6% issue, that's a very low amount. But what do you think contributes to that percentage? Do you think it has to do with obviously the economic state of South Africa, or do you think there are some misconceptions that people probably have about saving for retirement that needs to be cleared?
So like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people just get a salary, pay the expenses, and don't have a lot of money to save for retirement. Or the young people think, I've got a lot of time to save, so I don't need to save from now. So I think it's a little bit to do with the economy also. I mean, we know what economy we're in right now. A lot of people are literally living hand to mouth or living month to month. And unfortunately, it's a really sad reality of the economy. So I think that is a factor. But also, I mean, we've done a lot of research through all of this, and with a lot of the workshops that we do and things like that, and the information that we get back, is that a lot of people think that, oh no, I had children and I worked for them when I was young, so when I get old, they need to look after me. And that's not always the case, because you don't know what financial situation your children are going to be in. Are they going to be able to afford your lifestyle by the time they start working and you are at retirement now? So you need to plan for your own retirement. Yes, things don't always go as planned, but at least if you have a plan in place, you kind of have you can foresee what's going to happen. So if you go to a financial advisor, they'll be able to do a proper retirement plan for you, give them all your information with your assets, with your liabilities. And what generally tends to happen is we work on 75% of your salary, because by the time you get to retirement, it's assumed that you have paid off your bond, you've paid off your car. You don't need, you shouldn't be sitting with those type of expenses when you are now in retirement. Your house should be yours, your car should be yours. You shouldn't be paying off those big expenses. It's now more like living expenses, medical expenses, that sort of thing. Financial advisor will be able to do a calculation for you and tell you exactly how much money you need for retirement according to what you are spending now. And there's also tools online that you can use to just go and do like a quick sort of calculation on your retirement, and that can also give you an indication of what you should be saving. So, those proper retirement plans will tell you need to be saving X amount in this fund that's going to give you this percentage of return every month. And that's how you're going to be able to retire financially.
That's beautiful. Now, a lot of people right now may find themselves overwhelmed by the complexities of all these financial things when it comes to retirement. Like, where do I start? I know you mentioned speaking to a financial advisor, but before that, are there any maybe platforms that you can recommend for people to go and read about what, saving for the future is like? Where do you start? Are there any maybe apps or websites that people can look for so that they can inform themselves before even speaking to a financial planner?
So a lot of the investment houses have a website that you can go onto. So any one of them, whether it's All Mutual, Momentum, Sanlam, Discovery, any of them, all have something about retirement on them. So you can literally just Google retirement stats or retirement information, and a lot of websites will pop up where you can go and you can read on there, and a lot of those websites will give you a retirement tool, so you can go and you can just play around with it. It's obviously not going to be very accurate compared to if a financial planner is going to do your full on retirement plan for you, but you'll sort of get an idea. Also, I mean, look at the economy that we're in. I've just given you the stat now. Also, if you look at our unemployment rate and just everything that's going on around us, you need to just look and think, okay, nothing is certain. So, am I still going to be in this job in the foreseeable future? What's going to happen if I don't have this job? What's going to happen if I don't work until I'm 60? You need to just think about all of those factors and then try and start saving from there. So, if you haven't already started saving for your retirement, my suggestion is please start as soon as you can, and start with a minimum amount. If you feel like it's going to be a big dent in your budget, start with a minimal amount and see if you can maybe just increase it as time goes by from there.
I mean, this has been a beautiful conversation, Amira. Jazakallah so much for just giving us insight and educating us on, the important topic of retirement. But before I let you go, is there any last words that you'd like to say specifically regarding retirement?
Amin, Jazakallah for having me. I honestly love this, and I think I say it in every interview that I'm such an advocate for financial literacy. It's
Yeah.
something that it's very close to my heart, and also it's something that we as a team. At the University of Johannesburg, I'm from the Department of Finance and Investment Management. Us as a team are very, very passionate about this topic, and we're very supportive in it. So for me to be able to come here and to just speak about it, I know it's always a short segment, and I always just try and get the important bits out. But I feel like it's making a difference, and I really do hope that it's making a difference to some people. It's a huge part of me, and it's something that I really, really enjoy doing. And I feel like it's something that's very needed, in our community, in our country, and just on a whole, in general. I feel like you can always learn something. But on retirement specifically, when you start saving for retirement, you've just got to think about this also, that whatever you save, if you save anything more than 247,500, by the time you get to retirement, that money is going to be split up into a third and in two-thirds. So that's how it used to be. Like at the end of, like, when you retire now, we'll look at the amount that you have, and then we split it into one-third and two-thirds. And then last year, the two-part system came into effect, and the government decided they're going to split it into the one-third and the two-thirds from the time you pay your monthly when that debit order goes out, or whether it's in a retirement annuity, whether it's in a pension fund, whatever sort of retirement saving vehicle that you have, the one-third is automatically split. So from September last year, your one-third is split separately and your two-thirds are split separately. So when you retire and you look at those amounts, your two-thirds goes into buying you a living annuity. You cannot take that money out and use as you want. That's what the one-third is for. So that's the amount that you will take out as cash, and you can use it, whether it's to pay off a debt or whether it's to put into another savings. You can take that one-third and put it with your two-thirds just to give you a bigger income. But the two-thirds that's going to be remaining, that's the amount of money that goes into buying you an annuity. And most of the time people will go for a living annuity. That just basically means that you choose an amount between 2.5 and 17.5% every month, and that's the money that will get paid to you. So obviously, if you have a really, really big pension fund or a provident fund or a retirement annuity, you're going to get a bigger amount every month, and that's the amount that you're going to live off every month. So the more you have in there now, the better it's going to be for you when you retire, because that amount is then going to pay you out a monthly amount for you to live with.
I mean, we could go on about this topic. It's such a very, I mean, I think it's very important and crucial that we learn about, such things and the importance of, financial literacy. So, but Jazakallah so much. We hope to host you again next time so that we can explore these topics further. So thank you for your time.
You are most welcome.
Viewers at home, this was a beautiful conversation that I just had with Amira Asvat, who is very, very passionate about financial literacy. She's a lecturer and she's a certified financial planner. But we were speaking about retirement and the importance of financial literacy and how it can contribute to your welfare. But most importantly, just looking after yourself financially and knowing exactly where you will be in the next coming years. But without wasting any time, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you right after this.